But now, so don't call me 2 no more. Call me 12. New planet 2 in the past, new number, new lane. Got the dog pound behind me, gold in my chain. Number 12 like Brady, but I'm still me. Pressure built different when you born to lead. Pocket calm like snow in December. Now I'm in the land, make the city remember. Ain't no clone, this a brand new script. Came from the 2, now I'm flipping the script, yeah. Don't call me 2, call me 12. Old Jersey, new era, welcome to the land. Number change, but the mission don't fade. AP watching the ice still sway. From Boulder to Browns, levels to this whole digit, same dog. I'm built for the man. 12 in the field, yes sir. QB 1-5. Let's get 2 was the spark. 12 is the storm. I'm past the comparisons, now I perform. No more debates, no more doubt. They gon' feel me when I air it out. Same soul, New Jersey stitch. Legacy earned, never switch. Ain't just a number, it's a chapter flip. Now the league gotta deal with this. Yeah. Call me 2, call me 12. Cold Jersey, new era, welcome to the land. Number change, but the mission don't fade. AP watching the ice still sway. From Buddha to Browns, levels to this home diction, same dog. I'm built for the man. Cove in the field, yes sir. QB 1-5. 12 ain't just a number, it's a statement. It's not about where I was, it's about where I'm going. Yeah, 808s, yeah, game time, chains on stealth. Whole league watching number 12. Cleveland cold, but the wrist still melt. Don't call me 2, I'm 12 myself.
Yeah. He won 2 in college, but now
Don't call me 2 no more, call me 12. Don't call me 2 no more.
left that 2 in the past. New number, new lane. Got the dog pound behind me and gold in my chain. Number 12 like Brady, but I'm still me. Pressure built different when you born to lead. Pocket calm like snow in December. Now I'm in the land, make the city remember. Ain't no clone, this a brand new script. Came from the 2, now I'm flipping the script. Oh, don't call me 2, call me 12. Old Jersey, new era, welcome to the land. Number change, but the mission don't fade. AP watching the ice still sway. From Buddha to Browns, levels to this whole digit, same dog. I'm built for the blitz.
12 in the field.
We back.
Yes sir.
We back.
That 2 was
We
the spark.
back.
That 12 is the storm. I'm
We
past
back.
the comparisons, now I perform.
I need
more
y'all to hit
debates,
that like button.
No more doubt, they gon' feel me.
I need y'all to hit that like button. They lying again. He lying again. They lying on Shedeur again. They lying on 12 again. Man, I tell you, man. I tell you. I'm gonna tell you what he said. But if y'all don't know, I was trying to wait for more people coming here. But if y'all don't know who this Albert Beer or whatever name is, this the same man that put out their information about Shedeur right before the draft that the Giants said that he heard from somebody that they said. This the same guy right here, man. And he was on the radio station. He was on the radio station yesterday up there in Cleveland. And he said some ridiculous mess, bruh. Ridiculous. But no, he not on. He's an analyst for Sports Illustrated, a reporter for Sports Illustrated. He was just on the Cleveland fan radio station up there in Cleveland. This is what we gonna take a look at right here, or listen to. But I don't understand, bro. I really don't understand. What do you have against Shedeur, man? Because every time, this is the second time he done said something publicly at the right moment. This is the second time he done said something publicly at the right moment. What I mean at the right moment is everything done died down. They was getting ready for the draft a week before the draft. Then he come out and say about the Giants. Now it's a week after minicamp when it's a big long gap in between from here in training camp. Now he gonna come out with the information and guess what they're gonna be talking about? What this guy said or what he didn't say. It's ridiculous, man. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. We're going to take a look. I'm trying to wait for more people to come in, so I wanted to go back over it. But in the meantime, I need y'all to hit that like button. And then I need you to go down the street, tell your grandmama, tell your granddaddy, your auntie and your uncle, your niece and nephew, your cousin, your first cousin, your second cousin, your third cousin, your fifth cousin, your sixth cousin, your seventh cousin, eighth cousin, ninth cousin, your 10th cousin. Go drop on your knees. Pray to the God. Pray to Jesus, the Lord, to bring money mainstream up on the views. I need y'all to go to heaven. Tell your great-great-granny she don't even know nothing about a computer. She need to come in here too. That's what I need. It ain't collusion. No, it ain't collusion. It's a lie. It ain't collusion. It's a straight up lie. I'm like, cuz, we gonna listen to it.
End of the year, things don't go well, and one side seems more at fault than deal.
Albert, we've kind of been talking a little bit. I believe it's going to be Flacco into Shedeur Sanders, and Nick says I'm living in my fears because I like Shedeur, but he's like, if you like Shedeur, you should want him to start week one. I cited the Patriots last year for reasons why you don't necessarily have to start a quarterback week one, but I think Shedeur is such a different situation in general. Do you feel like I am living in my fears in that suggestion that I don't want him to start right away, especially with the strength of schedule and how hard it is out of the gate?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and here's the other thing is like, I think it's, after the year that the players just went through, I don't think you can look at it this way. I've said this to you guys before, but I just think it's really hard to look at it. Again, when the players have gone through what they've gone through the last 2 years, if Joe Flacco is clearly the best option in camp, give him the job. Like, you can't, what does that say to your players if it's like, yeah, well, Joe is much better, but let's just throw Shedeur out there to see what we got. Like, how are the rest of your players gonna digest that? Like, are they really gonna fight for you, especially if you start with a couple losses and it doesn't look good? That's an easy way to lose your team, So I think this is gonna go to the best quarterback. I think you owe it to the players in that locker room to do it that way. I have such a hard time, seeing a team that's in the spot the Browns are in, throwing the season overboard in the name of quarterback development, especially when that quarterback's a fifth-round pick. And I'd ask you.
Hey, look.
Players in that locker room to do it that way. I have such a hard time, seeing a team that's in the spot the Browns are in, throwing the season overboard in the name of quarterback development, especially when that quarterback's a fifth-round pick. And I'd ask you why.
This man just said they throwing the season overboard because of a quarterback, especially a fifth-round pick. How are they throwing it? How? It's not. It's the media creating this. Like, Why would you look? This how I know these folk they just doing whatever, putting Shedeur name connected to it just to get clicks and everything, because it was no reason for you to get on a radio station show, whatever that was being recorded a week before the draft. It was no reason for you to get on there to say that information about Shedeur that you said, if you wasn't looking for something. And I could even point out he was the reason that Shedeur fell in the draft. He was part of the reason. Because if you had that information, which was a lie, we already know it was a lie, but you put out that information to cause this man to lose $46 million. Or let's just say this case, $40 million. Because you put out some misinformation that you heard from somebody that they said, you already know it's a lie. I'm like, bruh, you put out the information about the John said he had horrible interviews and you heard it from somebody else. Now you coming out and saying right here that Shedeur is throwing away the Cleveland Browns season.
Why aren't you saying the same thing about Dylan Gabriel? You know what I mean? Like, he was drafted higher. So, like, I think people have this perception that just isn't the reality of who Shedeur is yet. You know, I have such a hard time, seeing a team that's in the spot the Browns are in, throwing the season overboard in the name of quarterback development, especially when that quarterback's a fifth-round pick. And I mean, like, I'd ask you, why aren't you saying the same thing about Dylan Gabriel? You know what I mean? Like, he was drafted higher. So, like, I think people have this perception that just isn't the reality of who Shedeur is yet. Now maybe he could become something more in 3, 4, 5 years, but I just don't think I don't think like what the perception of Shedeur was in February or March is going to weigh much on this at all, because I don't think it's the reality of how the NFL saw it.
Albert, Eric Mangini on Fox Sports 1.
No, is what you put out is what reality is. You put out some misinformation. Who knew that information besides the Giants? Nobody. Until you came out and said it nationally, didn't nobody else know that information but the Giants. So if the other teams knew that information, that means they had to talk to the Giants. But now everybody know it because you came out and said it. That makes no sense.
Kind of alluded to the idea that he thinks Stefanski hasn't given Shedeur first-team reps yet as a way to try and tamp down Shedeur mania and the hype around Shedeur. So just kind of piggybacking off that, is the Browns' handling of Shedeur till now, is that impacted by their desire to tamp down the noise around Shedeur?
Hey, this it right here. I need y'all to pay real close attention to this man's answer. Real close attention.
On the noise around Shedeur?
No, I think it's because he had a bigger learning curve than Dylan Gabriel. That's the reality of it. I mean, Dylan Gabriel started how many games in college? Dylan Gabriel crushed his pre-draft process. Like, now that doesn't mean there wasn't stuff for him to learn along the way, but I mean, I wrote this back in March and April that there were teams that were like sort of stunned by how little Shedeur knew, relative to what they thought, him being the son of Dion and having played for Pat Shurmur in college, so I think Shedeur, and maybe this isn't any fault of his own, but I think Shedeur had a lot more ground to cover than Dylan Gabriel did. And so because of that, like, it's harder to put him out there with the first team. Again, like, you have to be able to answer to your players in these sorts of things. That's the way I look at it, at least.
Hey, listen to what I'm about to say, man. Shedeur had a bigger learning curve. Listen now. This how you folk that cover sports don't mean they know the sport they covering. Because you don't know. This man clearly don't know football. You said Dylan Gabriel started 60-something games because he been in college for 6 years. He went to 3 different schools. Shedeur went to 2 different schools and was in college 4 years. Now listen. How he can't learn is crazy. Exactly. So listen. This the same scenario, same equivalent, that's the word I was looking for, as you growing up with your parents in the house. Your mama taught you one way, your daddy taught you one way. You grew up in their household, under their roof, under their rules. This what you learned from them. Now, I grew up in another household, never knew you in my life. I grew up a certain way. I was taught this, I was taught that. Now, if we both go to a, let's just say a job interview in this case, and they ask me something that I don't know, but you do know, that don't mean I wasn't taught and don't know it. That was just because I wasn't exposed to it like you were, because you had different parents, learned different things from what my parents knew and what they taught me. That don't mean I can't get the information because I ain't never heard it before. This is stupid, bro. Like, football. If I only had, in this case, they say 2 offensive coordinators for Shedeur, which is really is more. 2 coordinators for Shedeur and 6 for Dylan Gabriel. Of course he gonna know more than me because I only learned from 2 than his 6. Of course he gonna know more than me. But what they don't say is, what they keep leaving out is, what exactly are you talking about he didn't get, or he don't understand, or he had a learning curve to learn? You never say specifically what it is. I need to know specifically what it is. I need to know if it's the route tree, the protection concepts. What specifically are you talking about that he don't know? They don't never say that. They don't never say what it is he don't know. But at the same time, Dylan Gabriel, he had more offensive coordinators because he went to different schools. But that doesn't mean him knowing the stuff in Shedeur don't mean that he better than Shedeur. And he deserve more reps with the ones, and Shedeur don't. That don't mean that he a better player. Obviously, he is not. One was projected as a first rounder. The other one projected as a 5th, 6th, maybe even undrafted. So if Dylan Gabriel killed it in his draft interviews or the draft process, why was he projected to be a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th rounder? And Shedeur projected to be a first. At first it was top 3, then became top 10. It only fell after this guy came out with his information. You can't tell me Shedeur had a bigger learning curve and they were shocked the way he didn't know. If I go into a job interviewing for a job, they want to know my references, right? But a lot of these jobs, you don't learn the stuff in school. You learn it on the job. So if I go into the Giants meeting room and I talk to their offensive coordinator, I have never been in there. I have never seen their playbook. How am I expected to know what kind of offense they run? Like I said, they said he only had 2. They said he only had 2 and Gabriel had 6. That's what they say. I know he had more than that. And I know this a lie. Because if Shedeur didn't have or had a bigger learning curve, ain't nowhere in the world he can come out rookie minicamp, OTAs, minicamp, and do what he doing. I don't care what team he playing against. If he don't know the plays, he ain't gonna throw the ball in the right spot. If he got a bigger learning curve, why is Dylan Gabriel getting 83 reps and only completing 40-something passes? If it's a bigger learning curve, why ain't nobody talking about Dylan Gabriel becoming a starter? It ain't no chatter about Dylan Gabriel besides from the haters that don't like Shedeur. They either love Dylan Gabriel and hate Shedeur. It ain't no, well, I like Dylan Gabriel, I like Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel. It ain't never that. When it comes to these extremists of the haters on Shedeur, I'm talking about the biggest reasons that's coming out. They're saying biggest learning curve. Just like Mary Kate talking about he's slow developing. Like, I don't understand it, bro. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Ain't no way. Ain't no way he had a big learning curve if I'm looking at the numbers. We didn't create the numbers. ESPN Cleveland came out and said, we gonna track it. Ain't nobody tell y'all to do that. Ain't nobody tell y'all to do that. Y'all did that on y'all own. We just going with it because of what you said. I don't get it, man. Excuse you, it doesn't take a blind man to see something better out there. Well, whatever Dylan learned in Cleveland, he need to unlearn it if he playing like that practice. Jamil, you need to be a comedian. But y'all would have played well on that really. Well, it's all count. Nobody had Dylan on that board. Not even LeBron. They had last minute secret meeting with Dylan. And already confirmed they aren't seeing anything new with Shedeur. That means they already knew he performed as he had. I can go on, but that said it all right there. The game ain't yet 100. Like I'm saying. I had to read y'all comment. I had to catch up with them. It don't make no sense. And why you coming out with the information now? Ain't nobody else done said anything but this dude. Just like we doing before the draft. He talking about them interviews. Ain't nobody saying nothing but him. It's always him. To come out with this outlandish stuff that makes no sense. You talking about him got a bigger learning curve.
Just you kind of piggybacking off that, is the Browns' handling of Shedeur till now, is that impacted by their desire to tamp down the noise around Shedeur?
No, I think it's because he had a bigger learning curve than Dylan Gabriel. That's the reality of it. Dylan Gabriel crushed his pre-draft process. Like, now that doesn't mean there wasn't stuff for him to learn along the way, but I mean, I wrote this back in March and April that there were teams that were like sort of stunned by how little Shedeur knew, you know, relative to what they thought, him being the son of Dion and having played for Pat Shurmur in college, you know, like, so I think Shedeur, and maybe this isn't any fault of his own, but I think Shedeur had a lot more ground to cover than Dylan Gabriel did. And so because of that, like, it's harder to put him out there with the first team. You know, again, like, you have to be able to answer to your players in these sorts of things. That's the way I look at it, at least. And, you know, I think, you know, just as far as being in a position to tell your players why you're doing something, if Shedeur's behind, it's harder to give him first team reps. Can you earn those going forward? Sure. But I think the reality is he was pretty far behind to begin with.
Are we wrong?
How is he far behind? Now listen to what I'm about to say. This gonna sound real stupid. I know it coming from me. It's gonna sound real stupid, right? It seemed like to me every offensive playbook from college to NFL is the exact same. Because every time they talk, appreciate it. Every time they talk, it seems like they saying that the offensive playbooks are all the same. Dylan Gabriel knew it, but Shedeur didn't. Last time I checked, Colorado and Oregon didn't run the same offense. Last time I checked, the Giants and Cleveland didn't run the same offense. So I'm trying to figure out how all of a sudden all these plays are the same and Shedeur don't know them, but everybody else do. Jackson Dart, he caught the errors on the install, supposedly, but we already know it wasn't no playbook. But Shedeur didn't. Now, Shedeur got a bigger learning curve because Dylan Gabriel already know it. Who told you this, man? Who told you this information? You don't never correct. You don't never say a source. It always hearsay. I need a video. I need somebody other than you to come out and say it. He ain't crushed nothing. Dylan Gabriel ain't crushed nothing. The dude was projected to be a 5th, 6th, 7th rounder. So what? So why Will Howard won the national championship? He went in the 7th round. So what he didn't know? But he got a championship ring. I don't get it. Man, I don't understand it, bro. Like, you come out, ain't nobody tell you to come out and say this, but you did. You did. Why you even had him on the show? Because he said he has some information. That's why y'all had him on the show. Clickbait, trying to use Shedeur name to get some money. That's all y'all doing. Just like everybody else doing, creating content on Shedeur. That's why y'all clicked on this video. Besides me, y'all clicked on this video because of Shedeur. Come on now. This is ridiculous, bro.
Wrong then, it kind of staying in that same vein to write off Kenny Pickett before he's even been given a chance here?
Sure. I mean, I think all four
I ain't listening to that. Now he gonna say, hold on.
of those guys are going to be given opportunities, but I think I think all four of those guys are going to be given opportunities, but I think those opportunities are sort of based on merit now, and going forward. I mentioned, I think I used the term first round bye with you guys. I think I did.
I want to see how Shedeur had a bigger learning curve, and just like you said, had a high completion percentage. We ain't keep track of that. We did not keep track of that. ESPN Cleveland did. And guess what? They got it pinned. They got it pinned. A pinned post. So they want everybody to see it. Even though that's wrong with the interceptions. That is wrong with the interception. Man, nah, they need to trade Kenny Pickett. They can't trade Flacco. Flacco ain't gonna bring nothing. Ain't nobody gonna want Joe Flacco. No. What I'm saying is, you lying, bro. And it ain't them about clicks right now, man. Cause I don't see how relevant you can be if you lying all the time. Like a reporter that lying, I can't trust him. Clearly, we know you lied about the Giants interview. I done made a video about all that already. We already know he lied about that. So why I need to believe you now? Man, come on, bro. Y'all here talking about Kenny Pickett. Flacco is 40. He's not getting traded. What can you get for a 40-year-old quarterback? Nothing. That makes no sense. Read what this line say. Why does he bring up Dylan Gabriel when he is asked about Shedeur Sanders' success? Everybody knows this. This is Tony Grosky, whatever his name is.
The people in Colorado have been dying for somebody to ask you. They want to know, Tony, why every time you mention Shedeur Sanders, particularly when it comes to his success, you also mention Dylan Gabriel. Like, Shedeur's success can't live on its own. It's always living in your mind with Dylan Gabriel alongside of him. Can you explain why that seems to be the case?
I just think Gabriel is overlooked because of the massive shadow that Shedeur casts. And I get the feeling that everyone thinks Shedeur is the only player out there working hard. And he's the only one who's the last to leave. But I think people are overlooking. There's another quarterback that the Browns rated higher than him. So be prepared if you see that guy play before Shedeur, because they like him a lot.
I ain't gonna be surprised. I already expect that. Now everybody else, I don't know. I already expect them to play Dylan Gabriel before Shedeur. I already expect that. I said that in the preseason games, Dylan Gabriel gonna probably get more of the buck than Shedeur come out there in the fourth quarter. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how they gonna structure it, but that's what I'm expecting. Just because they don't want Shedeur to go out there and light it up, and then Dylan Gabriel don't even get a chance. Now, I ain't saying Dylan Gabriel a bad player, bad quarterback, none of that. But what I'm saying is, you can't be not saying nothing negative about one of them and say everything negative about the other one just because he a bigger star, bigger celebrity, better athlete, better quarterback, period, than the other one. You can't keep saying everything positive about Dylan Gabriel and everything negative about Shedeur. Like, I'm not comparing the two. I already done looked at the numbers. I done seen what teams they playing on. Like, it doesn't, you can't compare if Shedeur had the same offensive line, same type weapons that Dylan Gabriel had, and Shedeur only threw for 3,000 and some yards with a run game and a stout defense, and the team was undefeated, won the Big Ten championship, and Shedeur put up 3,000 yards and was projected as a fifth, sixth, seventh round draft pick, then we can compare them. But Shedeur didn't have none of that. Shedeur had a better offensive line than the first year, but it still was horrible. No run game. One Heisman winning receiver that happens to play defense too, with nobody else close to being next to him for as skill-wise, and a mediocre defense that played way better than they did the year before, but still ain't have no top defensive player besides Travis, just because he played both sides, get drafted high. Like, Oregon had so many players drafted, it was ridiculous. And it wasn't just skill players. It was the O-line, D-line. You know what I'm talking about? Like, come on now. You can't compare the two. And Shedeur threw for 4,000 yards. And carried his team.
Gabriel, and I told him, Tony, what you said. You know, I told everybody, because everybody asked, are we keeping 4 quarterbacks? Why did they draft? I hate to say, but why did they draft Dylan Gabriel? And I told him, Tony, what you said, and I said there's a good chance all 4 make it to the season. And just, I said, guys, and I know, let's let this play out. Let's just, let it play out.
Exactly.
And however it plays out, may the best man win. I mean, that's all we can ask for as Browns fans, and I'm sure it'll be Shedeur. I told
The other Tony had to throw that in there, boy. Rizzo. He had to throw that. I'm sure it's gonna be Shedeur. Now you got one that love Dylan Gabriel, Tony, and the other Tony loves Shedeur. This the type you want to listen to. I was listening to them go back and forth all day. If they could just, I know they had been on here before, but if they could just sit there and just talk, going back and forth, who better, why they think this is, I'll listen to that all day, man, for real. Because this crazy. This is crazy, man. Shedeur graduated with a degree in psychology with a 3.9 GPA. Now he dumb. Okay. If that were true, he wouldn't be able to have the success he's had thus far. Exactly. Yeah, he really don't give a F. You know what I'm saying? His says Shedeur can come out and win the job. I ain't worried about what Johnny Manziel say. I ain't worried about what he say. Now, if you got Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, not Eric Mangini, because we're going to look at this one right here. We're going to have to watch this whole 16 minutes right here. Because this video is crazy. We're going to have to listen to this whole 16 minutes. But if you got one of them big-time, high-profile coaches that done did it and been on the mountaintop and done won, and they talking about Shedeur, don't know nothing, he need to learn this, he got a learning curve, why not just go ahead and come out and say it? Like, it ain't no need, you already protecting your rookies. It ain't no need to not tell us what's actually going on. Now, the head coach ain't gave us a hint, and he actually said that he doing, like somebody else said in the comment, he doing exactly what we thought he was going to do. It ain't nothing new with Shedeur. So if the head coach done said it ain't nothing new with Shedeur, how is it a learning curve? He was behind. When clearly Mary Kay said Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett had to catch up. She ain't named Shedeur. I'm telling you, y'all got to listen to what these folks said. And then what Buddy said, I think. He said, I think, before he even started talking.
He viewed that term with you. Those opportunities are sort of
The chance here?
sure. I mean, I think all four.
Look, I think. Come on, bro. Where I was going next.
For Tim Couch, you were here for Johnny Manziel. You were here for Baker Mayfield's rookie. You've seen some training camp circuses. You were here for Tim Couch. You were here for Johnny Manziel.
Bro. Say more. I got a whole video saying the Browns is a circus. The Browns, period. And the media included. All of the circus. They ain't never had this much attention. Now all of a sudden everybody want to be celebrities and superstars. Off Shedeur.
You've seen some training camp circuses. You were here for Tim Couch. You were here for Johnny Manziel. You were here for Baker Mayfield's rookie year and Brady Quinn's rookie year. What is going to be unique or different about Shedeur in training camp and preseason games?
Well, he's got such incredible fan support that I think if he isn't given any opportunities, the Browns are going to hear about that from their fans. I think at training, when fans attend training camp, it'll be obvious he's the most popular guy on the team.
Jeez.
I could feel that.
The fourth-string quarterback is the most popular guy on the team.
Tony, I feel like you stopped short of saying the fans are going to riot.
No, but I think if they comport themselves like they do online, they may. Because I think there's a natural curiosity, too, even from unbiased fans of the Browns. Like, what is so special? Why does everyone love this guy so much?
Bro, y'all ain't never had no success that you don't like. You don't know what it look like. And I done heard this, like I done played football all my life and coached it. I'm coaching too. And I done heard plenty of coaches say, you can't go where you ain't been. This in life too. You only gonna do what you know. This in life too. So if you don't know, you can't do it. So if you ain't never had no success at the quarterback position, you don't know what it look like. I don't care if it ain't Shedeur. But I'm talking about Shedeur. But even if it's not Shedeur, you still ain't gonna know what it look like. Because you ain't never had it before. So you being biased, unbiased, whatever you talking about, and then, so what's the hype? What's the hype about? Go turn on the film. He just a celebrity, man. You get hyped over Leonardo DiCaprio new movie coming out, but it ain't that good. I'm just using him as an example. I'm just a high profile, other skin color celebrity that they might love. I'm just saying. It would be cricket. It wouldn't be nothing. They'd be talking about, man, we love Shedeur. Well, in this case, your name wouldn't be Shedeur. We love Joe Sanders. We love Dylan Gabriel. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying Dylan Gabriel a bad quarterback. And I ain't saying he might not be doing good. I'm just looking at the tape and the numbers. And I don't know if they ever going to be able to get good because people that work for them, people that cover the team, they don't believe in nothing. They so used to losing that you can't see when you got a winner. And you so used to losing that you refuse to accept that you got a winner and won't even get a winner a chance. So now he going to go somewhere else and win. It's the same thing the Falcons do. Same thing the Atlanta Braves did before they won the World Series. My daddy used to say, the Falcons and the Braves is a good training camp. Because every time the Falcons and the Braves get a player, that player always leave the Falcons or the Braves and go somewhere else and win. Deion Sanders. Falcons a good training camp. Soon he left the Falcons, went straight to the 49ers, won Super Bowl. Not even a year, the next year. Left the Falcons, won a Super Bowl.
They traded for Kenny, so him.
It'll be hey, I love Dylan Gabriel. I love Pickett. I love Flacco.
Oh,
it's gonna be Shedeur.
Day one.
No, by week 8, Shedeur Sanders will.
Judging by
that sounds right.
Judging by the ESPN.
I mean, I'm dialed into ESPN Cleveland, so I'm watching this. I don't know what the hell those DBs
16
are doing.
of 18.
Yeah, I think I only saw one interception from all the quarterbacks. So I don't know what Denzel Ward and the boys are doing over there. But
be careful. Be careful.
I'm reading tea leaves. I'm watching.
What are you talking about, Shrades? 16 of 18.
Jackson Dart
touchdowns.
Threw 3 touchdowns today. Be careful.
Yeah, never gonna happen.
Holy shit,
Really? Not throwing them.
Put on the bottom line.
Yeah, it is a lot better than not throwing. Good call, AJ.
I get it.
James threw 10.
I've never, and I respect the hell out of all the beat reporters, but I don't remember us ever charting June minicamp.
Be a pro.
Nope.
Passing stats.
That's attention to detail. This is what football knowledge has come to. Who's that?
Bruh, once again, we did not create this. ESPN Cleveland created this. They said, Tony Grosky, we gonna track what they do in OTAs and minicamp. Ain't nobody tell y'all to do that. Now all of a sudden, now you don't like it because of something you created that people swaying towards Shedeur when you tried to sway it the other way. It worked the opposite way that you thought it was gonna work. Now you want to get rid of it when you created it. I'm saying they hate different. They blind because they ain't put it up here. They ain't put it up here. That's why they blind. Like we ain't see them clips. Him throwing. He threw the ball right to the new linebacker, the rookie linebacker. And Joe Flacco, he threw it to the linebacker. Like we done seen him, bro. Like. Man, you watch them clip. Dylan Gabriel threw that ball in the dirt, threw it behind them. Some of them receivers. I'm just saying, bro. Even though we done seen Shedeur interception, we seen some of Shedeur ain't made that many mistakes far as the opportunity he done had, the 53. 53 or 41, 83 or 48. Shedeur been to talk since before April. Yeah, Shedeur started becoming the talk back in February after the Super Bowl. Because everybody was talking about Shedeur up until the draft. Everybody was talking about Shedeur during the draft. Everybody talking about Shedeur after the draft. And get what's going to happen now. Training camp going to start. We going to talk about Shedeur all the way up until training camp. But training camp going to start. And then when he go out there and start doing good, you talking about the hype train. They talking about Shedeur hype train. The hype train. The Cleveland hype train. Yeah, but when the last time you done seen Cleveland all over the news and media? When the last time Jim Brown? That's the last time you done seen Cleveland Browns in the news or in the media every day. That's the last time. Come on now. If you didn't want this attention, why you draft the boy? Why you draft him? You knew what came with it. That's what I don't like. That's what I don't like. If you didn't want him and didn't like him, why you draft him? We could have been just like this somewhere else. We could have been just like this somewhere else. It might have just been this. To be honest. Dude, he got Jimmy drafted. Shedeur Sanders got Jimmy Horn Jr. drafted. No way. I know y'all like Jimmy. I like Jimmy too. But football Jimmy, no. Football Jimmy got to prove to me. Football Jimmy Horn Jr. got to prove to me he belong in the NFL. He already got the shoe coming out. He got the Cleveland Brown colorway of the DT 96s coming out. Oh, man. I ain't worried about all the... LeJohntay, Will should have been drafted. I don't know why he wasn't drafted. He should have been drafted. Jimmy the one that shouldn't have been drafted. But he got Jimmy drafted. LeJohntay got drafted. He made Travis Hunter a Heisman Trophy winner. Because Travis couldn't throw the ball to himself. like he just threw for 4,000 yards and he don't know a playbook. He can't learn the playbook. He's so far behind. Like, bro, get out of here, man. Where is it? We already looked at that. What y'all think, bro?
Before I let you go with the quarterbacks, right?
I would imagine.
What do you think? What do you think is going to happen in Cleveland? Before I let you go with the quarterbacks, right?
I would imagine Joe Flacco starts to, to start the season. Now, a lot of people who probably talk on this show and other shows during the summer, they make a lot of phone calls. I don't. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think Flacco's going to start week 1. I think it's the Joes, Flacco v. Burrow. I think that's what's going to happen at the end of the day.
I think that's what's going to happen, and I think you buy yourself as much time to see who looks like a pro in practice and who's operating that way, and then you give the rookies different shots to succeed during the year. It does feel like they've kind of finally come to grips with the fact that, they got to start over a little bit. good on them. Only 3 years late, but here we are.
Here we are. What do you think's going to happen in
Hey, man, that's what I want to do. We need to look at this.
Years ago?
Yeah.
Acted as a coach for a couple of weeks and then left, and we're like, where'd he go? They're like, hey, and come in and he can go as he pleases. Chad Ochocinco, over the moon. He was on Nightcap on Friday night. Over the moon on Shedeur Sanders.
I got a couple of...
The field ain't going to be 150. It's going to be 150,000 because they're going to keep moving it. It's going to be 4.6. 4.6 million. That's where it's going to be. Keep moving. They move the goalpost so much on Shedeur. I feel like LeBron got it easy. Cause you know how much they move the field goal post on LeBron. I feel like LeBron got it easy and Shedeur done took over. Like, bro, at this point, he gonna kick the longest field goal in NFL history. But don't kick the ball so hard and so far, he gonna go out the stadium.
The young bulls out there. I talked to Denzel Ward. I done talked to some people. He looked different. There's a difference when that young bull is out there spinning that ball. You hear me? Mm-hmm. Difference. I'm talking about football. I ain't talking about no media and all that hoopla and all them, on Twitter, they putting up the numbers. Some he with 10 for 12 for 2 touchdowns. I'm talking about when he's at the helm, he looks different. Whether he's going with the first team, second team, or third team, it don't matter. I understand getting drafted in the 5th round. All that means nothing when it's time to play football and that whistle blows. He looks different than the rest of the competition. That's what I heard. And I'm talking not Brother Ward. I'm just talking about from sources that's in that room, that's on that field, that's playing the sport.
Well, heard it from Denzel Ward too, apparently. Here is, now that was Chad Ochocinco. That's one side of it. Here's a former Browns coach.
Yeah, before we listen to Eric Mangini right here. That's what, like, bruh, I done closed the picture. But the one that be lying, who you heard it from? Chad Ochocinco just said he heard it from Denzel Ward and the folk that's in there. Where you heard all this mess from, Albert? Where you heard all this from, Albert? You don't never get no source. I heard this from such and such. Well, I think. You ain't never heard nothing from nobody. But you ain't never gave no source neither. But how you a reporter, I don't know.
On the quote-unquote ridiculous, this is the other side, ridiculous hype train for Shedeur Sanders. Here's Eric Mangini.
It means a little something, but I wouldn't read too much into it. I feel like you might be a Browns beat writer, Colin, because this hype train in Cleveland is so ridiculous right now. And I get it. There is a desperation coming off with Deshaun Watson for some quarterback to emerge, for some hope to be there for the franchise. And they thought Shedeur could potentially be a high pick for him. And then they get him in the 5th round. So it exploded in Cleveland the second that he got here. And what Kevin Stefanski is trying to do is he's trying to tamper it down. He's trying to push it down. All of his reps have been with the back end guys. He hasn't gotten any reps with the ones. To me, that's a good decision because as soon as he gets in with the ones, then the hype train's gonna roll even further.
Can I just point out that audio courtesy of FS1? I think that both guys have a valid point. I think both guys have a valid. That's not fun to do. You got to take one side or the other. Lima Likes coming up at 6:43. I know you're supposed to take one side or the other. I think both guys have a valid point. Can I explain why, Tone? One with Ochocinco. He is right. He is absolutely right. There has to be, and it's not where it's like sources coming in. Remember, this guy does have, whether you like him or not, and I think a lot of people, if they don't like him, I think that they're more mad at the Browns over the last how many years than they are at Shedeur Sanders. So we'll talk about that, I'm sure, at some point during the summer. There's an aura that he has. He's had to lead players before in bad situations. They took over at Jackson State, not a great situation. They left that position. They left that program in a much better position than when they found it. You go to Colorado. Clearly, they left that position. He's left that program in a better position than when he found it there, him being the quarterback. You have to lead people. On the other side for Eric Mangini, he is dead on. He is dead on. I'll say it personally. It's been 3 years of bad stuff. Negative, bad feelings with the whole Deshaun Watson thing. I'll freely admit it. I want him to do well. I want Shedeur Sanders to do well. I want Shedeur Sanders to be the next big thing. I'll just come out and say it. I hope that he ends up being that guy because it would be so much fun.
Why wouldn't you?
After 3 years of frustration, vitriol, depression over everything going on, I really do. So it's hard for me to not get too excited and amp up and say things more than what they're probably true. Where Eric Mangini's saying, hey, we're early in this process. These camp stats, all these things, they don't mean very much. But I get excited about the relationships that he might have with some of the veterans and some of his teammates don't.
Hey, KC, you right, boy. Lady, I don't know. I can't tell. But you right. It always a negative connotation towards the black folk. Even when you're doing good, it always got to be a negative connotation. Even back when 2020 was going on, everybody was locked up in the house, COVID. Then George Floyd happened. People rioting. People rioting, looting and stealing. Some of them was, but everybody wasn't doing that. Everybody wasn't doing that, but it didn't matter. A large group of brown-skinned folk, it's a riot, no matter what they doing. Man, look, I don't expect Shedeur to start week 1. I'm just being honest with y'all. Then, I don't expect when Joe Flacco, or even if Kenny Pickett is still on the team, I don't expect after both of them mess up, or one of them get traded, or they get hurt, I don't expect Shedeur to go in right away after that. Because they're going to give Dylan Gabriel a chance before they get Shedeur. I'm telling you, it ain't that. No. What it is, they drafted that boy 3rd round, so they got to justify drafting him in the 3rd round when it makes no sense. You don't have to prove nothing to nobody. Play the best quarterback. If Shedeur better than Dylan Gabriel, put him out there before him. But they ain't going to do it. They ain't going to do it. Watching the first preseason, I'm trying to go to that preseason game. I'm trying to go to that first one. What's going to happen? If Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur, if they decide they probably going to play Kenny Pickett, if he's still on team, they probably going to play Kenny Pickett the first quarter. Then they probably going to give Dylan Gabriel the second and the third quarter, and then get Shedeur the fourth. I hope it don't go like that, but the way it's trending, depending on what he do in training camp before that game, that's what the way it's trending right now. And we speak June 18th right now, and we got a whole nother month before they go to training camp. It's me speaking right now. That's what I'm thinking gonna happen during the first preseason game. Look, I ain't even talking about the completion percentage because, first of all, this the first year I have ever heard and ever seen that somebody is tracking a completion percentage, touchdowns, interceptions in OTAs and minicamp, and going to continue to in training camp. I ain't never heard of this before. All of a sudden, Shedeur get in the league. Now we got to find a way to diminish him. We got to find a way to make him not look so good because we got this other quarterback. You don't want success, bro. Then he black. He the only black quarterback in the room beside Deshaun Watson. But I ain't count him because they should have never gave him that contract from the beginning. Like when I first heard that contract, Deshaun Watson, I was like, what is they doing? But it is the Browns, so I left it alone. That's the only time the Browns was on the news besides right now. When they gave Deshaun Watson that contract and he had all them allegations. They ain't gonna rate him 9 overall. But if you go on college football right now, 25. Shedeur is rated higher than Dylan Gabriel and Cam Ward. I'm just saying. A failed organization. Big F. Man, they so focused on using them two first round picks they got next year. They don't even know. They ain't even gonna know what they have. They already done threw in the season. It ain't because of Shedeur. They threw in the season because they got them two first round draft picks next year, and they think they're gonna draft a quarterback that gonna come in and be the savior, which that makes no sense to me because none of them boys ain't even close to Shedeur or Cam Ward. I don't see nothing. I'm telling you, man, look, they're going to try to keep Shedeur out away from starting as long as possible until I ain't wishing nobody get hurt, but everybody will be hurt and they ain't going to have no choice but to play him because they're having to me in college, man. I'm telling you, having to me in college. They tried to start this freshman dude over me because he was taller. That's the only reason why they wanted him to start him because I was gonna have to guard a 6'8", 6'7" tight end in my position from my position on defense. I was gonna have to cover a 6'7", 6'8" tight end. I ain't even 6 feet, but the other dude he was like at least 6'2", but he wasn't no good. They started him. The beginning of the week, they started him at practice. That Monday and Tuesday, I think. By that Friday, boy, he wasn't on the team. Let alone he wasn't on the team, the boy wasn't even in the school no more. Boy got expelled. So guess what's gonna happen? You can't mess with blessed folk, bro. You can't mess with blessed folk. I'm telling you.
Of course you'd want him to get elevated if he's earned it and be able to be, the guy where we're not questioning. Right now we're talking about 4 different quarterbacks where, we're either talking about a veteran or him and he's gaining ground quickly. Like that would be a dream scenario, I think, for everybody. Then it would answer so many questions we would have about the state of the organization. But, to the point of what Mangini is saying, and he's somebody obviously who has, run a bunch of these types of camps. Yeah. Has been there, has seen this. Like the good news is we're not hearing that he's a fish out of water, that he doesn't belong, because that would be alarming right off the bat. And granted, they didn't make this huge investment in him based on where they took him, but that would quell a lot of the excitement, I think, immediately. So we haven't heard that. On the flip side of it, yeah, is it silly to be comparing the numbers in camp when they're not even thrown to the same guys? One's not really even taking any of the first team reps. Yeah, it is silly.
That shouldn't make it silly. That should make it even more surprising because Shedeur throwing to the back end of the roster, the third, fourth stringers, the dudes that competing and trying to make the team, and he making. If he doing that against them, put him with the first team. See what he do. Man, that receiver on the third team running the route right. What you think, Jared Judy? How you think he gonna run it? He gonna be more wide open.
But at least it does give us a little bit of excitement. So I'll reserve the right to have a little bit of excitement. I'm certainly not in the camp of losing my mind every day and talking about how this changes everything with the Browns. Like I'm not there yet. Like we have to get to training camp. Yes. We have to get to the joint practices. We got to get to preseason games. And the funny thing is, even that's still not a real game.
Well, here is the former Browns coach Mangini saying exactly what you're just saying about trying to keep the expectations tempered.
I'd say the numbers have to be taken with a gigantic grain of salt. There's a lot of learning going on for him, and to see the numbers, that's positive. But he's also working versus the back end of the roster, so his numbers should be a little bit higher just based on that as well. The other issue with Shedeur, it's not accuracy, it's It's how well he can deal with pressure in the pocket, the constant need to extend plays, the unnecessary sacks he took. And you're looking at an offensive line and a team in Cleveland that had one of the worst percentages of sacks given up last season of anybody. So I just say you can get excited, but don't be too excited.
Again,
they saying the wrong thing. I'm getting tired of them talking about that, bro. Like he extending plays because he had to. He didn't have a run game. No offensive line. They don't never say that, bro. They don't never include that in the situation. Talking about, yeah, he held on to the ball too long. Sometimes he probably should have just threw the ball away. But you got to understand, the team, most of the time, his team was down, and they need to come back to win. So he got to make a play. Ain't nobody else going to make a play? Who on that offense was going to make a play beside him and Travis? He had to throw the ball to Travis, LeJounte, Will. Them the only three that were getting open. And if they went open, then you got to hold on to the ball. Granted, like I said, he should be throwing the ball away. Some of them situations, I was yelling at the TV too, throw that ball away. He should have thrown him away. But don't act like that was all on him. Some of them was. I ain't giving him a scapegoat. But majority of them, he ain't had no offensive line. And if a team know you about to throw it, because you have no run game, you can't run RPO or play action because you have no run game. The team going to be in their dime coverage, they nickel coverage, playing coverage. They not worried about you running the ball. Then when you behind the sticks because your offensive line done dropped off sides or they don't let you get sacked on first and second down, you got to try to make a play. You got to put all that into the situation. You can't just say that he was holding on to the ball too long and was taking unnecessary sacks. You can't say that because it wasn't all on him. You got to have the whole totality and the whole context of the situation. You can't pick and choose what you want to say. And I don't even want to listen to Eric Mangini anyway. You was a horrible head coach. If you knew what you talking about, then you'll still be coaching. That's all I'm saying.
An audio courtesy FS1. Hey, he's talking about that completion percentage and touchdown passes and stuff chart that's going around, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's got to be.
Oh, glad you said that. Cleveland O-line in 32nd, so they going to need a quarterback who know how to extend play too. You're not missing nothing. Because why when you want the quarterback that dealt with no offensive line? Dylan Gabriel ain't going to know how to act. He only got sacked 22 times. Shedeur going to know exactly what to do because it's going to be a muscle reflex. When the whole line don't block, he know exactly what he need to do.
He's got to have his mind blown with stuff like that going on right now. And I think anybody reasonable has their mind blown with it. Like, listen,
because why are we calling touchdowns? Why are we acting like this is the same thing as a touchdown in a real game where you had to drive the football down the field? No, they're just stationed at the 10-yard line, throwing into the end zone.
Yes.
And it's just nothing like this. Does not replicate football the way that we know it. So the stats shouldn't be.
I think a guy like Mangini finds it funny because you're not unless you're doing a 2-minute drill, which I'm sure they have once or twice. You're not putting together drives. They're putting you in situations. It's situational practice. So what are the, by the way, and again, they're not even wearing pads and you're going to be wearing the orange jersey anyway or red jersey anyway. So you're being put in situations, 3rd and long situations, short situation, run play situation, pass play situations, red zone situation, deep, high red zone situation. Like we got to understand, like this is situational stuff. It's not putting together drives and all right, we're going to start at our own 25-yard line and down the field we go with 10:31 left to go in the second quarter. And now we've gotten past our 15-play script. Like that's some of the things that I think that everybody's missing out when they just look at the charts and they look at this stuff and they see the things that the media puts out that really are just by an observation of some people watching, where it could be right, it could be wrong, depending on when they were looking and when they were talking to Scott Petrak or something like that. Like, I don't know what's actually going to be real when it comes to the charts. So I just assume none of it's real. So what's real? What some teammates may be saying. Of course, they're not going to sit there and rip him a couple of weeks into practice. What they might be saying behind the scenes about his attitude, which it seems to be fine. But I think that what's real is the same thing we talked about him coming out of college, in that there is some leadership there, and there is a guy that's going to have to still, because of where he was taken, because of the draft, he's going to have to go out there and he's going to have to earn his teammates' trust. But the completion percentage and
they don't put none of that in the context when they talking about Shedeur. They don't put none of that in the context what you just said, Roger. They don't never do that. It always the negative. Why he ain't getting first team reps? Shedeur going against the second and third team, the fourth team. He got a learning curve. He's slow developing. He got to catch up to him. It ain't never that. They created the situation. I said that multiple times. They created, ESPN Cleveland created the situation of tracking the quarterbacks. The Cleveland Browns drafted 2 quarterbacks after they traded for one and signed one. Did nobody tell y'all to do none of this, but the owner told you to draft Shedeur. You should have never drafted Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round. If you wanted Dylan Gabriel, you should have waited like everybody had him projected to be. 5th, 6th round, 7th round, undrafted. Then when you should have got Dylan Gabriel. You should have picked Shedeur 3rd, and then you could have had your other 2 5th round picks and got a receiver and maybe another offensive lineman. But no. 83. That's what I'm saying. If it don't mean nothing, why are you keeping track of it? Why are you keeping track of it? And why are you giving completion percentages on the side? I know that they don't, but they actually did it at ESPN Cleveland on the video. The guy actually calculated it. 77% for Shedeur. And it ain't hard to calculate. Just do 48 divided by 83. That's it. Then you got it. They always been trying to create another narrative. Look. Kenny Pickett been struggling since he got in the league. Yeah, go ahead and sub, Kawan. I speak the truth over here. Ain't nobody lying. And what that Melissa Porter? She like, I don't even know who you is, but you stay hating. I appreciate you for coming though. You hit that like button. Talking about sooner or later these content creators. Like, I can't come up with no more content. Like, I can talk about Travis, Cam Ward. I can talk about football, period. Everybody want to talk about Shedeur, so that's why I'm doing it. Why I'm going to do other content if everybody want to see Shedeur. Then I ain't going to get no views. No, I'm trying to grow. Ain't nobody fooling you. What you talking about? The media going to have to pick somebody else then. Because they making money off Shedeur too. Don't let these folks lie to you. That's why they make these Shedeur videos. That's why you clicked on my live. You want to talk about Shedeur. I want to talk about Shedeur. I'm trying to make money off Shedeur. Everybody else trying to make money off Shedeur. There it is. Everybody getting paid on their platform to talk about Shedeur. Nah, bro. I don't know. I've been saying that. The interceptions is wrong. I ain't getting her out of here. Nah, bro, I'm getting paid off her. She a view too. Let her talk what she want to talk. I don't know, Wisdom. If he's slow and he got better results, I have no idea. I said that in the beginning too. It ain't working, period. You went 3 and 14. Something ain't right. That's what I don't get. They talking about the Giants, he ain't find the errors in the playbook. I was like, hell, the whole playbook an error. They were picking number 3. Like, you can't convince me. You can't convince me that your stuff work if you picking top 3 in the draft. No. Everything need to change. I ain't gonna say 14. They ain't got no 14 combined. It wasn't that many, but they did have some. They're like, y'all gotta, the team picking in the top 3. That means they stuff didn't work. Or the players didn't execute it right. I'm confused. So how you gonna tell me he learning and developing slow, he need a learning curve if they stuff didn't work? The quarterback on the team couldn't run it. The players on the team couldn't run it. Now you telling me Shedeur can't come in there and learn it? No. Appreciate it, Kate. Y'all always come through. It makes no sense, man. Y'all gotta quit. Look, quit listening to what they say and do your own research. That's what I do. I know football. I ain't just listening to somebody talk and believing what they say. I'm gonna go check. That's why I say about that dude Albert. That dude Albert. Tell me who you heard that from. Give me a name. Show me a video. Show me some text or article or something. They actually said this. We already know that. Shedeur said that too. He said that a month ago. That some of the players are similar from Colorado. He said that.
And things like that. I think that Mangini's right on. I know that you play both sides and you say, well, Ocho Cinco says all these positive things. Mangini, I don't think he's being negative. I just think he's being realistic. Realistic of what the expectations are going to be. Realistic about what a football team like that, since he's been the head coach and really, I think in kind of a similar situation as a head coach of the Cleveland Browns before, I think that's maybe more of what Eric Mangini's thinking here. It's like, hey, I know Shedeur Sanders is a content machine. It's right up there with Aaron Rodgers. So these are going to be the 2 bigger stories of the NFL offseason here over the next 5 weeks of what people talk about, where he's at, what he's doing, what football camp he's at, who's he talking to. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers and what's going on there. By the way, we'll talk more with Jeremy Fowler coming up at 9:22 with ESPN.
I know we got to go. Stop you real quick. You said he's a content machine.
He is.
The funny thing is in anything he said, hasn't really created any stir. There's been no distraction. There's been no circus. I don't even think has he said anything that outside of him just smiling and, he's been a decent soundbite. But
exactly.
It's not like he's gotten in front of the mic and said something where we all ran to hit publish. Like, holy cow, did you see what Shedeur said? That hasn't happened. He's just kind of blended right in.
I think people have made him polarizing over these last 6 months. They have either made him somebody they love or somebody they despise in so many ways. Again, I bring up some of the Browns fans. I think that they're more mad at the Browns over the last how many years of football, and Shedeur Sanders might be some personification of that, going after the sizzle, going after guys who are going to be big names. I think it was worth the risk. So I just want to see what he's able to do, but none of the charts and things like that I think really matter. And I think that that's what Eric Mangini's trying to say. And I really think that when you hear what Ocho Cinco's saying, that there is a feeling within the teammates that, all right, this guy is not an idiot. He is not what some people have made him out to be, that this guy can be a respectable teammate in this locker room and perhaps somebody that leads. And as of right now, on June 16th, that's all you're asking is, anytime we get to talking about Shedeur Sanders, there's a group of people that roll their eyes. I want to know why they don't like him. Because I'm willing to say that they don't like, the people who don't like Shedeur Sanders, I'll listen, I'll hear you guys out. I think you're more mad at the Browns than you are Shedeur Sanders. And I kind of want people to be willing to admit that. Does that make sense to you? Do I have to explain that better?
Yeah, explain it.
I think it's both. Yeah, I got cash out, but super chat on here. I think it's both. I think the people don't like Shedeur. They hate what the Browns did by drafting Shedeur because they already didn't like Colorado and they didn't like Deion. So them drafting them to their favorite team made them not like him even more. And then you see what he doing visually. Damn, he actually is good. I hate him more.
I think that the years of going back to, I think it really started with a lot of fans with Johnny. The years of the exciting named quarterback who doesn't translate into the NFL, the Browns being at the center of all that, I think that that's weird on on a contingent of the fan base that tends to call into our show, that tends to call in to Afternoon Drive and on the station in general. I think it's worn on them. But I don't think that there's anything about Shedeur Sanders. I look over these last 6 months of the offseason, how his name's been drugged through the mud, drugged bad out, what he's done over the last 4 years in college. I don't see anything about Shedeur Sanders that insults me personally as a football fan or insults me personally as somebody who watches the game. I don't think there's anything about him that bothers me. With other guys, it's like, okay, this guy's a bit of a knucklehead. This guy's goofy to the media. You could say a bunch of things. I don't think it's that way about Shedeur Sanders. I think that more people, if they say that they're anti-Shedeur Sanders or they roll their eyes every time we talk about him, I think it's partially because I think they're tired of the Browns or they're angry with the Browns over this last decade plus. Because we've got a lot of calls here over these last few weeks of, man, why does everybody keep bringing up Shedeur? Why do they keep bringing him up? I go, well, one, I think that there is a hope there that he might be being the next big thing and we can stop this carousel looking for quarterbacks. And of the two rookies, you would say his ceiling is higher. And the other part of it is.
And the other part of it is, y'all ain't had nobody. So when this, like all this media attention he getting, I don't care if y'all had Baker Mayfield and Johnny Manziel. Y'all was more positive with them, and they was doing worse stuff than Shedeur than ever did. But y'all so positive, y'all was so positive on them, and they turned out to be nothing. I don't care. Baker Mayfield down there in Tampa, he a mediocre quarterback. He won the Heisman. Johnny Manziel won the Heisman. Ain't none of them turning out to be what they thought they was. So why not give somebody a chance that actually gonna do good as far as off the field and on the field? Because them other two y'all had, it's like, what? Like, bro.
Is that I think he's a fascinating creature where you go from where people thought he was going to be in the draft, either night 1, first round, or early night 2, depending on how things were going, to day 3 and the Giants saying all these nasty things about him. I think it's a fascinating story, and I think that that's shooting fish in a barrel when it comes to the media.
I'm going in with an open mind, and I don't know how, if you're a Browns fan, you're not doing the same. Even if you didn't think Shedeur was going to be good, even if you were talking about how he was exposed big time in some of the bigger games, you think that he's just a media creation. It's all about Dion and the buzz surrounding him. Even if you think all those things are correct, like, are you not giving it a chance? Like, what's the alternative?
I think there's
here?
people who don't want to even give it a chance.
Why?
I think that
someone
they don't
would have to explain that to me. That to me seems totally counterproductive.
My explanation for the calls that we've got, the tweets that we've got, the emails that we've had, is they don't trust the Browns. They don't think that they can handle this. They think that they are already spiking their season before it starts because there's going to be an expectation and an implication there. And I don't think that they trust them wholeheartedly. Whether the Browns get...
But see, like Buddy said, they spiking the season. It ain't because of Shedeur. It because y'all traded the number 2 overall pick to get another first round pick next year. It ain't got nothing to do with Shedeur. Y'all got 2 first round picks and y'all expecting already to go get a quarterback, Arch Manning, that ain't gonna come out till the 27. Y'all expecting to go get him next year when he ain't even gonna want to come play for y'all if he do come out. Plus, them quarterbacks that coming out next year ain't even close. I don't care what they talking about. I ain't heard nothing about them boys. None of them. As much as I had about Cam Ward and Shedeur. Which one of them, tell me which one of them coming out next year, and depending on what they do coming up, I know they're going to be a lot to determine too. Now, if one of them come out, throw for 4,500 yards, with 40 touchdowns, and they win the national championship, ain't now one of them better than Shedeur right now. Then guess what, Browns? You're going to have to do the same process you're doing now. You're going to have to do it again next year. Because guess what? That whoever you draft ain't going to know the playbook. So and he got to get caught up to speed while you still going to have Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett on the roster. With Deshaun Watson sitting there making $80 million. You're going to have to go through the same situation again. Why not take your time to develop a quarterback? That's why you ain't never had one, because you don't take your time to develop one. You always trying to find the next big star and don't try to develop them because you want them to come in to play right away because y'all been losing so much and y'all put all these high expectations on him. And when he don't know nothing, then you going to get another quarterback that failed at a better franchise. Dude was put in a better franchise as a whole, Pittsburgh Steelers. Now all of a sudden you think he gonna come save the Browns?
Get their evaluation wrong, or they are forced to play Shedeur Sanders when Shedeur Sanders isn't ready. Like, we played that audio last week of, well, what happened? Like John Middlecoff yelling about him being put into the game before he's too ready, put into games before he's ready to actually play in games, which is something that I don't want to do, and I don't think anybody should want to do. And then it becomes the argument, well, he's going to play at some point. Why don't you just put him in there? Like why don't you just put him in when it comes to a name, I think is what bothers some of the fans, to the point where I think that they get mad anytime you talk about Shedeur Sanders instead of trying to be open-minded to it. I still think it's more towards the Browns instead it is against Shedeur Sanders.
Look, I understand being – you're talking to me. I mean, I understand being cynical, skeptical on every move the Browns ever make, but – you know, they threw a bunch of darts here at the dartboard, and if any of them pan out, I mean, heck, I don't talk much about Dylan Gabriel, but I thought he was overdrafted. I don't like the stuff that I've heard from the scouts about him. But if it were him, okay, I don't love the thought of a short quarterback like that, but does that automatically mean he can't be good? Like, I wouldn't go there either.
No.
Like, I'm trying to be optimistic in this one time period because they're coming off a 3-win season, and we all think that this is gearing up for a number 1 overall pick or 2 top 5 picks or whatever next year, whatever you can see, you know, all the different moves that they made. I'm hopeful. I am hopeful. Like, I don't expect a 3rd round Dylan Gabriel or a 5th round Shedeur to work out, but I would be tickled to be pleasantly surprised when all is said and done.
When it came to some of the guys before, and really one guy in particular talking about Johnny Manziel, I don't think that Johnny earned the spot.
Hey, all I'm saying, even them high draft picks, you don't know if they're going to turn out to be nothing anyway. It's always dependent on the player. You can't make nobody work hard. You can't make nobody be good. They got to do it on their own. You drafted Baker Mayfield number 1 overall. Johnny Manziel late in the 1st round. Johnny Football. You can't make them be good. Just because they are a 1st round draft pick. It don't work like that. Brock Purdy got picked Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in the NFL draft. Now he $100 million quarterback. You can't make nobody be good just because you drafted them in the 1st round or the 2nd round. It don't matter where you get picked at. If that player ain't got no work ethic and willing to work hard to get better each year, it ain't gonna matter. Hey, this the last time I don't play this. Now I gotta get off, bro. I was gonna say I won't get off at 2:30 exactly, but hey, we live in that thing. I need y'all to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, tell your friend about the Money Man you already know. Go tell your grandmama, your auntie, your uncle, your granddaddy, your daddy, your sister, your brother, your 1st cousin, all the way down to your 10th cousin. Go tell them to subscribe to Money Man you already know and get in here.
I think, you know, this is going to go to the best quarterback. I think you owe it to the players in that locker room to do it that way. And, you know, I have such a hard time, you know, seeing a team that's in the spot the Browns are in, throwing the season overboard in the name of quarterback development, especially when that quarterback's a 5th round pick. And I mean, like, I'd ask you, why aren't you saying the same thing about Dylan Gabriel? You know what I mean? Like, he was drafted higher. So, like, I think people have this perception that just isn't the reality of who Shedeur is yet. You know, now maybe he could become something more in 3, 4, 5 years, but I just don't think what, like, the I just wouldn't. I don't think like what the perception of Shedeur was in February or March is going to weigh much on this at all, because I don't think it's the reality of how the NFL saw it.
Albert, Eric Mangini on Fox Sports 1 kind of alluded to the idea that he thinks Stefanski hasn't given Shedeur first-team reps yet as a way to try and tamp down Shedeur mania and the hype around Shedeur. So just kind of piggybacking off that, is the Browns' handling of Shedeur till now, is that impacted by their desire to tamp down the noise around Shedeur?
No, I think it's because he had a bigger learning curve than Dylan Gabriel. That's the reality of it. You know, I mean, Dylan Gabriel started how many games in college? Dylan Gabriel crushed his pre-draft process. Like, now that doesn't mean there wasn't stuff for him to learn along the way. But I mean, I wrote this back in March and April that there were teams that were like sort of stunned by how little Shedeur knew, you know, relative to what they thought, him being the son of Dion and having played for Pat Shurmur in college, you know, like, so.
I don't leave it on that note, man. Dude be lying. It is ridiculous, bro. It's ridiculous how much these folk be lying, man. But hey, I want to appreciate y'all for the one that did go on the poll, man. Let me look at it. 218 votes. We're going to do this again. I want to make another poll. I ain't never had that much participation in a poll. So I'm going to end up doing it again. Yeah, stop the lies. I'm going to do it again. The way he do. I do, you know, you're a liar. Exactly. But hey, so it looked like Mike Vick came second. I was planning on doing Mike Vick now in Norfolk State. I was planning on doing them, you know what I'm saying, eventually. But everybody wanted Shedeur at 57%. So I'm going to end up doing this again, this poll again soon. 50K giveaway still going on, man. Next Friday, I'm going to have a whole lot more time. Next Friday, probably next Friday night, I'm going to go live, and I'm going to pick the winner for the 50K giveaway. Prime time giveaway, Shedeur 12. If you want to enter, like the video, subscribe, leave a comment on any video. Prime time giveaway, Shedeur 12. If you want to enter the 50K giveaway, I'm giving away a Shedeur Sanders jersey because I done reached 50,000 subscribers, man. But y'all already know what time it is, and you know what we about to do.
Whole digit, same dog. I'm built for the blitz. 12 in the field. Yes, sir. QB1 vibe. That 2 is the spark. That 12 is the storm. I'm past the comparisons, now I perform. No more debates, no more doubt. They gon' feel me when I air it out. Same soul, New Jersey stitch. Legacy earned, never switch. Ain't just a number, it's a chapter flip. Now the league gotta deal with this. Don't call me 2, call me 12. Whole jersey, new wear. Welcome to the land. Number change, but the mission don't fade. AP watching, the ice still sway. From Booter to Browns, levels to this. Whole digit, same dog. I'm built for the blitz. Oh, drops a number, it's a statement. It's not about where I was, it's about where I'm going. Yeah. Now it's game time, chains on stealth. Whole league watching number 12. Cleveland cold, but the wrist still melt. Don't call me 2, I'm 12 myself. Yeah, he won 2 in college, but now don't call me 2 no more. Call me 12. Don't call me 2 no more. Left that 2 in the past. New number, new lane. Got the dog pound behind me and gold in my chain. Number 12 like Brady, but I'm still me. Pressure built different when you born to lead. Pocket calm like snow in December. Now I'm in the land, make the city remember. Ain't no clone, this a brand new script. Came from the 2, now I'm flipping the script. Oh, don't call me 2, call me 12. Old jersey, new era. Welcome to the land. Number change, but the mission don't fade. AP watch and the ice still swayed. From Buddha to brass levels to this whole digit, same dog. I'm built for the blitz. 12 in the field. Yes, sir. QB1 vibe. Deck 2 was the spark. Deck 12 is the storm. I'm past the comparisons, now I perform. No more debates, no more doubt. They gon' feel me when I air it out. Same soul, New Jersey stitch. Legacy earned, never switched. Ain't just a number, it's a chapter flip. Now the league gotta deal with this. Don't call me 2, call me 12. Whole jersey, new era. Welcome to the land. Number change, but the mission don't fade. AP watching, the ice still sway. From Buddha to Browns, levels to this whole digit, same dog. I'm built for the blitz. Raindrops a number, it's a statement. It's not about where I was, it's about where I'm going. Yeah. Now it's game time, chains on stealth. Whole league watching number 12. Cleveland cold, but the wrist still melt. Don't call me 2, I'm 12 myself. He won 2 in college, but now don't call me 2 no more. Call me 12. Don't call me 2 no more. Left that 2 in the past. New number, new lane. Got the dog pound behind me and gold in my chain. Number 12 like Brady, but I'm still me. Pressure built different when you born to lead. Pocket calm like snow in December. Now I'm in the land, make the city remember. Ain't no clone, this a brand new script. Came from the 2, now I'm flipping the script. Oh, don't call me 2, call me 12. Old jersey, new era. Welcome to the land. Number change, but the mission don't fade. AP watch and the ice still swayed. From Buddha to Browns, levels to this whole digit, same dog. Built for the blitz. 12 in the field. Yes, sir. QB1 vibe. Deck 2 was the spark. Deck 12 is the storm. I'm past the comparisons, now I perform. No more debates, no more doubt. They gon' feel me when I air it out. Same soul, New Jersey stitch. Legacy earned, never switch.